Okay,
There
we're
we
good to
go.
go.
People are pouring in now.
Whew, sorry about that. I have two jobs on the go at the moment, so I'll try to turn the other one off.
And
Ready when you are, Mark.
I don't think that's Natalie there, but
No, I don't know how to change that. Let's see. Let's see if I can figure that
I
out.
don't I don't think you can, so we can start though. Go ahead.
okay, Justin, you're good to go?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'll call this meeting to order at 10:02 on September the 5th, 2025. I'll start by reading the land acknowledgement. City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattaway-Darronk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. Before we go any further, are there any declarations of interest for today's call? Seeing none, I will ask if I can get a mover and a seconder to adopt today's agenda. Can I get a mover, please? Thanks, Linda. And a seconder. Thank you, Stuart. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Next, can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes from our last meeting in July that was attached to the agenda? Again, can I get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Longo, and a seconder, Ratna. Okay. I'll ask the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Oh, Councillor Hare, did you have your hand up or just you're okay? I think having
Sorry,
problems.
I'm having technical problems this morning. I tried to get my hand up to vote, but it was also slow.
Okay.
So I think I'll just sit in the background and try to add when I can.
You can hear us though, right?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I believe that was all in favor and no opposed, so that is carried as well.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, there's some noise in the background. Justin, we're okay to go forward?
Yes.
Okay. So let's get going. We'll start with some correspondence. We'll start with the great news that Jay Gravenstein, development planner, has been appointed the staff liaison to the committee. I wanted everyone to join me in welcoming Jay to the ECBAC, what we call the ECBAC. I'm trying to find Jay on the screen there. Oh, there he is. Okay. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, with that, we'll get right into item 6.2, the Thorold Solar Project proposal. I found it welcome news that on the August 12th council meeting that they received a presentation from Electra Energy Solutions regarding a proposed 10 megawatt Thorold Solar PV project. My understanding is this potential project is being proposed in response to the IESO's latest RFP for long-term energy supply. For those technical folks out there, this is known as the LT2 procurement. And I understand this proposal is looking at non-agricultural land in Thorold South, specifically the multimodal hub. I'll get there, Linda. I'm pleased to announce that the city supported the submission of this energy project proposal, and the resolution details are attached to this agenda. I do understand that as part of the council discussion on this subject, there was some concern regarding the impact of a solar park on nearby residents. Not sure what to say there other than, as far as I know, solar PV is a passive energy provider. It produces no air pollution, no noise pollution. So I'm not sure what the concerns are, but maybe we could hear from someone today on those thoughts. We'll start. Linda, go ahead. You have to unmute.
Okay, I did. I find it difficult when people use letters all the time. I would like you to substitute the words for those letters so that I can understand better what's going on.
Yeah, I apologize. So the IESO is, oh, I hope I can remember it. It's the Independent Energy something of Ontario. It's, there's two governing boards of electricity or energy in Ontario. One is the OEB, the Ontario Energy Board, and the other one is the IESO. So they're the ones that kind of decide what direction we're going in terms of power. So
And
they're putting out an RFP for energy on a regular basis. The last few times they've done that, they've really been looking for more traditional energy, shall I say, and kind of blocking renewables. But it looks like they're opening a small window for renewables now.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
RFP meaning a request for proposal. So they're looking for companies to come forward and say we can provide this power.
Thank you.
Councillor O'Hare?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just want to point out that although Council did support this, it's merely moving one step forward. It doesn't allow Electra to start building, designing, anything like that. What's going to be done in this first stage is information gathering, and then they'll come back to Council again and make a presentation. So we're not saying at this point that this will be built. We're just, the Council just gave approval to move ahead with next steps and lay out a plan for what they're hoping to do. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. I'm assuming that this will be a bit of a long road with many steps of approvals at different government levels.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions relating to this? Oh, Zach, you have your hand up?
Yeah, has anybody done any cost study and life cycle study for the solar panels?
I'm sure that Electra will have this as part of their proposal eventually. What are you thinking of specifically?
Well, see if the cost, how many years does he pay back for the cost, and all the panels have a lifespan. How are we going to deal with it in 20 years or in 30 years?
Yeah, fair questions. I went through this myself when I put solar on my roof 4 years ago. So there's so many different factors that go into it. It really comes down to what they're going to get paid for the power, right?
Right.
And the lifespan, if you listen to the manufacturers, they'll say 20, 25 years. I'm not sure if it's that long, but the good news is that there's very little waste at the end of the life cycle. The recycling of these systems are getting better and better, right? The system is mostly glass and metals, so it should be a good business case. But I'm sure that Electra will be coming to council with answers to those questions.
All right. Thank you.
Is there any other questions or concerns on this subject? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to section 7, committee business. First item is the Rolling Meadows turf field. I believe Alex, I saw on the call here somewhere, and is going to give us a brief presentation.
Thank you, Chair. If you would allow me to share my my slide, and I could move forward with the presentation.
Mhm.
1 sec here. Can you see my slide? Let me just move that into a.
Yep, we can hear it, we can see it.
Everybody good with the slide?
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and all the participants on this meeting. So what I would like to do is to present a short overview of the project, and at the end of my slide, hopefully I could provide a little bit more insight as relates to the environmental component of the project, which is mostly the interest of this committee. So the project is known to be the East Park on Rolling Meadows. For purposes of this project, the vision of the project is to provide a year-round flexible sports field to serve the city of Thorold. Prior to this, there's other site considerations for providing an artificial turf field, and it was determined that the Rolling Meadows is the suited place for a multi-use facility based on its size, the environment for future growth and access. This is just a visual of what I referred to, the location of the East Park turf field site. So if you could see my cursor, the East Park is where we're putting the turf field, and there is the West Park that we refer to, which will remain to be a passive park. So further to the
Excuse me, Alex.
You need to go to the
if
next
if
slide.
you go into presentation mode, and that would be easier for us to follow.
I thought I had it on a presentation mode. No.
Well, it's stuck
You-
with the first slide.
You may be
Oh,
sharing.
really?
your own
Somehow you
screen,
have it
Alex.
sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have a full view of my slide?
Not yet. We're still, I think, in your
Oh, really?
like we have your
That's
notes at the bottom.
It's on slide
Yeah.
3, but it's not presentation mode exactly.
Okay. I had it as present. Okay, let me redo it. For some reason,
Alex, if you're using multiple screens, it may be taking the wrong screens. You gotta
okay.
make sure it's on the right one.
Okay, give me a sec. Yeah, sure. Here. Yeah.
Ugo is shifted from one screen to another.
Share. Okay. How's that?
That's better.
All right, wonderful.
Thank you.
All right. So so you missed my second slide here. I don't want to mess it up, but I'll continue with this slide. So this is an aerial of where the project site is located. So as I've said earlier, the East Park turf field is where we're putting our turf field as part of this project. For context, we have the West Park, which will remain to be a passive park. And further to the south is where we have an existing stormwater management pond, which I will
Okay.
discuss a little bit later down the presentation. So we had a few stakeholder engagements. So there were 2 workshops that happened in the project. The first workshop is more of trying to identify what type of facility that we would like to build in this site. Several sports fields have been considered, and it was determined that the best optimum sport that we could provide is a soccer and a football field. We had a second workshop that had happened, inviting some of the users group, and on this presentation for our workshop number 2, we have developed certain concepts to support a soccer and football field. This is just a view. I'm not going to go into the details of the concept, but this is just a view for sharing of what the concept that we have developed earlier as part of the workshop. And this is the concept number 3, which is the preferred option that was discussed together with the users group. We did a methodical comparison of the different options, and option number 3, more importantly, was preferred by the users group. By the users group. Several process costs that we have identified, but this is just to give a visual that we did a methodical way of selecting the preferred options. So with our concept number 3, not going back to the visual of what the concept number 3 is, some of the advantages that we have determined is that there's going to be a minimum earthwork that needs to be done for preferred number 3. There's going to be a continuous 600 trail as part of the features of this preferred concept. We are able to provide a better buffer to the residences to make it quieter and more aesthetically pleasing, and of course more discreet, where we got some trucks and buses going into the facility. This is a direct tie with some of the approvals that we are doing for the Rolling Meadows for phase 12, and more importantly, it was endorsed by our users group. It will provide us some space for upgrades, so say, for example, lighting and building extensions. We also have expanded our community outreach through our Let's Talk Thorold. So if you visit our project website, you will see some of the developments that we did for the project, some frequently asked questions to better inform the readers and make people more knowledgeable about the project, and as relates to a multi-use sports field. This is where we gather feedback from public online. We did also have a PIC that was held in August 21st. This gives us an opportunity to refine further our concept number 3. So with the PIC, it did validated some of the concerns that we hear from the public, and which we have anticipated, and that we have identified some of the potential concerns which relates to parking, access, and lighting. I'm going to read through this because the environmental services. I'm going to read through the bullet items because I don't want to miss any of those. Oops. How do I go back here? Okay. So here, as I showed earlier, there's a stormwater management that was built as part of the phase 1 to 12 of the Rolling Meadows. So we're going to capitalize on that to manage the stormwater management. There is already an existing infrastructure for water, sanitary, and sewer, and electrical networks, which makes it easier for to support the facility. We are also providing an enhanced landscape along Honeycrest to buffer view into the parking lot. This is a huge concern that we have identified through our PIC. There's also a regulatory requirement from MTO to have a 40-meter setback from Highway 58, which we will comply with as part of our detailed design, and anything that relates to the grading bylaw. So as part of the environmental enhancement, we are looking at a permeable paving at the parking area to reduce runoff. We also contemplated using LED field lighting to minimize energy and energy use and light spill. What that means really is that we're gonna do a photometric analysis to make sure that the lighting that does not become a nuisance to the adjacent residential area. And of course, we're going to provide a design irrigation system that controls water efficiently, and probably some of you might have heard low impact development will be part of our design approach in managing runoff. So our next step will to move forward into the detailed design phase. Hopefully, we're going to develop our tender documents by 2026, and award the contract also on the same year. Concurrently, we are also working on providing a parking space on the West Park to address some of the parking concerns in the area. And at the same time, as probably some of you know, we also have a report prepared for council for September 9 to further gain support from management and council. And that will be the end of my presentation. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Alex, for that. I'm going to ask if anyone here has any questions for Alex. Linda, go ahead.
I understand that you said this is to be a year-round facility. But from your plans, I don't see any buildings or roof over these trucks and things.
Yeah.
So is it a year-round facility, or is it like 9 months facility, that kind of thing?
Yes, through the chair. Yeah, you're correct. What we're building is a open field. Although we call it a year round, we're looking at other programs that would support a year round. But for purposes of soccer and football, this is more of an extended use of the facility, right? The wording might be a little bit not true in this context, but the whole purpose of it, for purposes of calling it a year round, is more of trying to find opportunity to use the facility year round for different programs, not only for soccer and football.
Well, I understand that a football field is very needed for our high school, as well as other groups in Thorold, but especially for the high school team, because they don't have a proper football field right now.
Right.
So I'm glad to see this happening.
Thanks, Linda. And just to extend on that a bit, Alex, if the field was to be used year round, that would necessitate probably some special equipment to clear the snow off that doesn't damage the track or the turf, right? So I don't know if the city has that as part of the plans or no.
Well, absolutely. As part of our study and at the end of the project, we're gonna identify what is required for purposes of maintaining the facility. So we will gonna lay out what's needed for purposes of a turf field. So that will be part of a report, perhaps in my mind right now, to present to parks and operation. That will be also all part of the detailed design phase in making the proper selections for the proper artificial turf field.
All right, thanks, Alex. Zach, go ahead.
How we can support and send feedbacks and interest for the West Park study?
Yeah, the West Park is not really is kind of outside the scope of this project, but I'm coordinating closely with some of the project team in trying to address some of the concerns, mainly for parking. As I've said earlier, right now we have, and I think we're almost done with the design for providing more parking into the West Park, but that would still remain to be a passive park. So the approach here is that we're gonna have to break an access on the median island on Barker and provide a direct connection between the West and East Park. But meanwhile, since the East Park is a year or two years away from being a reality, we have designed, and I know that it's almost done for the parking design on the West Park, and hopefully that would go into construction this year as well.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks, Zach. Thank you, Alex. Helen, go ahead.
Okay, so you did answer one of my questions. It's artificial turf, right? So we're talking a plastic grass we're putting in? So is that true? Like it says turf, but if you Google the word turf, it means grass. So this is a
Right.
plastic we're putting in?
I'm not expert in those kinds of terminology, but obviously we're gonna have a vetting and selection of the proper turf field. I'm not at this stage yet, but as I understand, there are different types of turf field, and turf field design and construction had advanced over the years. I still have to educate myself as well and how we're gonna make those selection. But the focus right now is to have a functional concept that is acceptable to all stakeholders. So when we go into the detailed design, we go into the details of what is the best turf field that is sustainable, has longevity, and and has less environmental impact. So part of the design, as I mentioned earlier, is a turf field, and basically a turf field really is a kind of technically impermeable, but we're gonna provide a proper drainage to make sure that it still mimics the natural environment
Okay,
or
because that would
function
be
of the environment or function of the environment, natural environment.
because that would be sort of one of my questions, whether I would support a turf field, because they talk a lot about the microplastics that break off of it over time, and then end of life, if they last 10 years or 20, then they get landfilled, and other chemical breakdown and how they're cleaned and all sorts of things. But I think that you're taking away grass that can sequester carbon, and then you're putting a plastic thing made out of
Petroleum
carbon.
product. It's a
Yeah, so
petroleum.
it would seem to me like some people might be supportive of the turf field if they knew whether it was real turf or artificial turf, and if the artificial turf was like recycled and things like that, rather than just the like what you read online, that it's really, really quite bad for the environment and leaches into water and stuff like that. So I think under environmental, you should at least point out that it's a artificial turf field, and it will be further researched, because I think we need the end of life on it. Like, when is this getting ripped out for new turf being put in? Like, I think people need to know if that's happening in 10 or 20 or 30 years or what. So just from the
Well,
environmental side of things.
let me ask you a question: has it been like decided by city council that it will be artificial turf?
Yes, through the workshop that we went through and the discussions with the users group, this is the direction that that we're moving forward. As I've said, we have prepared an update report to council, which is going to go to council on September 9. I guess we kind of sit that tight a little bit here and see what are the thoughts of council moving forward.
So Helen, I think that ship has sailed. I echo your concerns 100%, but I think ship has sailed. But Councillor Longo has his hand up. Let's see if he can help clarify that. Sorry, not Councillor.
I don't have my hand up, Chair, but I can.
Sorry,
I can
Councillor.
maybe comment a little bit if you'd like me to.
I meant to say Councillor O'Hare.
Go ahead. I'll pass it off to Councillor O'Hare.
Sorry about that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. And Councillor Longo, you can follow suit. So I'm sure you have something positive to add. So I just want to make a couple of one comment and one question. Alex, thanks for coming in and presenting this. I just want to make the comment that it's really pleasing to me to see that city projects are considering more often permeable paving. So at least that's a step in the right direction. I really appreciate that. It's a good move, and hopefully we won't even have to discuss this anymore, and it'll just be a given. So well done for including that in the plan. My question is, you spoke about the Honeycrisp landscaping, and I just want to know, is that going to be designed and approved by city staff, or is that going to be left to the councillor? Sorry, not the councillor, the contractor.
This is something that we will have to be part of the design process. We will continue to share that as necessary to the public through the Let's Talk Thorold, because this is one of the concerns that was identified through PIC, and we have recognized it, that we're providing an enhanced landscape for purposes of providing a buffer to the residents on the south side of Honeycrisp. I don't know yet how's that gonna look like, but we have a very competent landscape architect who's going to provide and guide us to how to provide a better landscape and then buffering around the site itself and around the parking lot.
Great. I'm hoping I could request that perhaps once they've reached that stage of design, that it's also brought to this committee just to have a second look and make sure things are in alignment with the committee's thinking. So,
absolutely, we could do that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor O'Hare. And I had a similar question along the lines of Honeycrisp Way. Well, when you say it's enhanced landscaping, I'm hoping that means more trees. But if it comes back to this committee for review, that would be very much appreciated. With that, Joe has a question.
Not a question, just a comment. It's one of the reasons that I'm on both committees, this one and the parks. I hear Helen's comment or hear her concerns, but the whole point for having the turf field is that there isn't one in Thorold at the moment. We're using other people's turf, so to speak, and they would all be slightly older, less environmentally friendly fields, I would imagine. It's been having a field that can be played on that's not mud to make for the first couple of months of the various seasons is the whole point to this turf. I'm not expressing it really well, but it's one of those things. Like I totally supported it at the parks, with the minor exception that, quite frankly, I preferred the horizontal version, just so that at various times you're not having one team looking into the sun if you're playing at noontime. But my only other concern was that, and presumably this would take place, but I'm hoping that the track and the turf and the field are put in at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to end up with, if you put in the field first, for example, great. Okay, except that if we're putting in the track next year, you're not going to be able to use the field while you're putting in the track. So hopefully everything's going in at the same time. And that's about all I had to say. I knew there would be somebody, well, not somebody, but various concerns about it being artificial.
And I think it would just be nice if it said sports field or sports turf or artificial turf. Like, just be honest about what it is, because we're not putting in a field and we're not putting in a natural, we're taking out a field and putting in sports turf. So I think it's not being transparent, because I had to Google what turf was because I didn't know if it was grass or plastic. So, and it said it's grass, but it's often used to refer to sports turf or artificial turf. So
it's
it's
a leftover term from the old days when everybody called it AstroTurf.
Yeah, from the brand name AstroTurf. So that's my only comment, is just to add artificial turf or sports turf into the public review so they know what they're reviewing.
Thanks, Joe, for bringing that perspective of there are proponents for artificial turf. Myself personally, there's nothing better than playing football in the mud, but from my own personal experience,
we're tougher kids back then, Mark.
Maybe, but not so much for soccer, right? I mean, so there are advantages to having an artificial turf. Not saying I support it, just saying I understand that there are proponents. And the other comment, Joe, about the east, west, north, south, let's just make sure that we make it a home field advantage with the sun in the eyes. All right, Linda, go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to say that I'm thankful that Helen has brought this up. I think it does need to be transparent, because there may be some people that are upset with artificial turf, since it has a lifetime of maybe 20 years, and real turf could be there forever and doing its job and in the environment. If there's trees planted in the area, I would like to make sure that they are native trees. They're not these Norway maples and stuff like that. They need to be a variety of native trees too, since it will be a place where many people will go to. And with a variety of trees, maybe you could actually label each tree so people could look at them as they're coming and to the field and stuff, and decide maybe something they'd like to plant in their own yard. And it would educate them on what trees are native trees, and that would be good for education. And I do agree with Councillor O'Hare with the permeable pavement, and I think that should just be something that happens all the time. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I think that's those are great ideas in terms of using native trees as well as labeling them. That's fantastic ideas. Stuart, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just had a quick question, and maybe I missed this, but I was listening to this, I was looking up both some mapping the MPCA has and some Google images. And in this field, there was an existing kind of path at one point with trees going around it. Those are being removed? Is that what I'm understanding from looking at the drawing, or they're going to remain?
Through the chair, yes, that would remain. It will be modified a little bit to fit, right, and suit suit the current configuration of the turf field right now. But yes, it will remain there. That's one of the main selling point of the concepts that we have for the concept number 3.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stuart. And thank you, Alex. I did have a few questions. I think most of them have been answered, although I noticed that the wording on the presentation changed. At one point it said maintain existing tree stands and incorporate new plantings for habitat. That looked like it was replaced with enhanced landscaping.
That's right.
That's fine. Yeah, so it's not so much a question as it is a request, which is I do see that there is a row or maybe 2 of small trees widely spaced apart. I think we're all saying that we would like to see more trees, both along Barker Parkway as well as Honeycrisp Way. I'm also thinking if there's any way to put trees behind the bleachers, at least on the west-south side of the field, that would be helpful for the fans, parents, and whoever. That could be protected from the heat in the middle of the sun. I guess there's not much we can do for the players on the field. They're exposed to the sun, but the message is basically, I think we need more trees on both of those boulevards, and hope that you can take that back. And then I will also reiterate Councillor O'Hare and Linda's comments about permeable paving. So my question specifically is this a recommendation as part of the plan in this part of the process, or has that been approved? And if not, how do we help you get that approved for permeable paving specifically?
Right. Well, through Mr. Chair, yes, what I have right now is more of the concept what we're thinking about. So the next phase really is for us to define clearly what is the criteria for the design. If you like, I could share that to the committee and what the criteria is. So we already have identified all of this as part of the criteria that we're putting in. We have not formalized that because before we start the actual design, part of the process with an architectural firm, the consultant, is to list down exactly in a document for what is the design criteria for it. We've already identified this. my apologies for changing the word on the presentation. Was hoping to be a little bit more clearer and more or a catch-all thing, but yes, the whole purpose of it is to provide as much trees as much as possible for purposes of of shading and to mimic as much as possible the natural environment and trying to attract more bees and birds if you may. Again, I would defer that to my consultant and my architect that's working on the project. But if you like us, we could share step by step. So the first step that we're gonna do is define clearly what is the design criteria, so that you guys see and provide an opportunity to comment on it. And then we put that into paper in the actual design of the project. Even at the end of this phase for the functional, we also gonna provide a report that talks about various things in the sustainability and how we're gonna operate and whatnot. So we're clear and hopefully to be as transparent as possible as we go through the process of developing the design. So
Okay.
I hope that we were a little bit more were I hope that we are actually methodical as a project team together with our consultant.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate that, and appreciate that your requirements would include things like permeable surfaces, especially if the turf field or artificial grass is not permeable. It just
Right.
makes it even more necessary to do that. Um, and again, whatever we can do to help to make suggestions regarding those types of things, trees and permeable surfaces, let us know. You can do it offline. Just let me know, and we can try to help with that. Okay, in terms of recommendations.
Will do, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Linda, I think you had another question.
Not another question, but another suggestion.
Okay.
If the title was original of this presentation was originally habitat, then I was wondering if there had any consideration has been given to planting some understory plants too, or some other native plants like serviceberry, ninebark, and stuff like that.
So not just trees, but some other
Yeah,
bushes and plants around the trees to help with the habitat.
Yeah, and native, all native, of course. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
just a suggestion.
Yes, absolutely. We have all of that under consideration, and we have an expert to deal with those kinds of criteria.
All right, thanks, Alex. Joe, and I think Councillor Longo also, but Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, just very briefly. I believe every proposal for parks and whatnot, or that comes to the Parks Department or committee rather, in this term at least, has heavily suggested permeable, semi-permeable parking.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Don't know where that idea came from, but they're all recommended.
Great, thank you. Councillor Longo, did you still have a question or comment?
I just want to make a comment, Chair. I'm just sitting here listening to everybody making great points, great recommendations, and that's what this committee is a part of. And Mark, you're mentioning you're hoping that we can put together ideas and let staff know about it. That's what this meeting is about. So this is just another form of public consultation, just like the previous public meetings. So everything you say and talk about here, we will definitely take into consideration. You make a lot of great points. The one thing I do want to say here, though, is through public consultation, it sounds like a certain version of this plan is being recommended. But at the end of the day, the version of the plan has to meet council's budget, any grants, any budgetary requirements. So it sounds like we want, or the public wants, a turf field and a track and et cetera, but this, I'm going to say, this project started as a turf field, and to Helen, it was never meant to be trying to disguise an artificial turf field. we were always upfront what this was for. But what I wanted to say is the project was just started as a turf field through council's lens. Now it's kind of expanded a little bit further. So my concern here is at the end of the day, we may have some upset people that don't get everything that they are asking for. They may only get at this point what council can realistically budget for. So I just wanted to make that comment, Chair. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And public consultation, not everyone in the public is going to have the same view and the same opinion. So
you're absolutely right, Chair. There's some people that don't even want this built, right? So
right.
Yeah. But it's at the end of the day, it's council's job and duty to take everything into consideration and decide what's best for the community.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you again, Alex, for that presentation, and hopefully the next two presentations we'll be able to go through quickly. Otherwise, we're going to be running out of time. But I think the message is clear from this committee's perspective of the public consultation as to what we're looking for.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and everyone in attendance. I'll take all the feedback and hopefully we could incorporate all of that into consideration.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to Legacy Area 2 Park. And Ugo, I believe you'll be providing a presentation?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if you permit
hang
me.
on a second. Sorry, Ugo. Linda, is it pertaining
just for your information, I have another meeting in Hamilton at 1, so I'll be leaving about 20 after 11.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Ugo, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for members of the Environmental Committee. My name is Ugo. I'm a project manager with the engineering department here at the City of Thorold, and today I will be presenting Legacy Subdivision Park. So for this presentation's sake, we have two parks that I'll be presenting. So the first one will be Legacy Phase 2 Area 2 Park. So I will share my screen if you permit me to do that. Okay. So please let me know if you see the screen.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is a Legacy Subdivision Area 2 Park and the Area 3 Park. I'll go to the next slide here. So the purpose of this presentation is to present the preliminary designs for two of these parks and seek feedback from the Environmental Committee. So if you take here, you see the Area 2 Park and the Area 3 Park here. So the park design is based off of Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So this is an extract from the Parks Master Plan 2020, City of Thorold. So you can see here the recommendation for Port Robinson West parks. So you can see, for example, playground, juniors, multi-purpose grass field, and the splash pad, walkways, benches, picnics, adult fitness washrooms, and all that. So intended service. So as described in the Parks Master Plan, it was divided into 6 categories. So under the section 9.2 consolidated list of recommendations. So it's broken down under this section: parks, trail maintenance, facilities, program activities, and the deliverable systems. So the one that concerns us today is the park. So these are the tables showing the requirements for what kind of park. So one of the park is a neighborhood park. You see here the box here in the rectangular box. You're talking about the 0.4 kilometer radius. So this meets the criteria for the neighborhood park. Then the community park is 1.6 kilometer radius. And there's some requirements that has to come with each type of park. So, but this is more like a technical piece of the park design. So our design at the end of the day will be guided by this table here. So in terms of parking, there's a requirement for parking spot that needs to be met for each of those parks. So if you take a look at this table here, for example, the barrier-free parking, you can see from the first row, 1 to 2, it's calling for 1 barrier-free parking. Then if it's 13 to 100 parking spots, you can be 4% of the total parking spaces. Setback distances, again, this is going to be what we'll be using as part of the design. So our design will be guided by this criteria here. So, for example, the distance from any structure should be between 5 to 7.5 meters. Like shelter or washrooms. We can see sidewalks area, benches, and all what's not. Playground equipment. So 3 meters to 5 meters offset. So Legacy 2 area community park. So these are the kind of a plan view of what we are thinking of doing for this park. This is going to be a junior pump track area and the senior pump track area. There will be a skating area as well. There's going to be a washroom, bike rack. There will be multiple sheds that will support the environmental sustainability. There will be lighting and the parking lot as well. Here, there will be 2 AODA parking spots for park visitors to use. So this park is located off of east of Cottonmire. So if you remember Cottonmire Road and Port Robinson, so it's just off east of Cottonmire in Port Robinson West. So we have held a PIC, Public Information Center, for this park already. The meeting was held in August 18th, 2025. So we received a couple comments from residents. So these are the redacted comments from the residents. So these are kind of what they were looking to have in the park. Then these are the summary of what we had from the PIC. Some of this is in addition to what we already had in the plan. So some of them were asking for in-ground pool, restroom, add the fruit trees, and add more shaded area. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll go to the next one. Legacy 3 area park. This is a neighborhood park. Look, again, this is within the Port Robinson West area. This is on the southeast corner of Cottonmire and Port Robinson. So this is the plan view for the proposed park. So this park was gonna have a table tennis court. It's gonna have a basketball court, splash pad, gazebo area, a playground, and washrooms, and with some parking, with lots of green spaces that supports the environment as well. There will be lots of tree planting as well to support the environment. The asphalt, we have, if you take a look, we have 2 accesses to the park. So one on the west corner and the other one on the south side entrance. Again, we've held the PIC for this park as well. We've received comments already, and these are the redacted comments that we received from the residents. And these are a summary of what they've been asking for, in addition to what we already had in the park. So some of them are talking about plant more deciduous trees on the west side of the gathering area. and they use permeable surfaces instead of asphalt. Safety concern, add fencing along the forest edge to block wildlife like coyotes, install more lighting, comfort and amenities, increase sheds, increase benches, add picnic tables, add electric vehicle charging station. And the last one is include a baseball diamond. So next step, applicable for both projects. So where we are right now is to finalize the comments that we received from the residents, then incorporate that into the final design, plus the comments that we'll be receiving from the environmental committee here. Then the second step will be to write a report to council recommending that inclusion of this project into the capital 2026 capital budget. Then once that is done or attained by early next year, we can start working on the tender documents. Then plan to have that second PIC just to present the final design to the environmental committee and the residents as well. Then tender after the meeting. Then if everything goes well, we'll construct fully. So if you take a look at this image here, that's gonna tell us more like a roadmap to where we are to where we're going. So incorporate public feedback, council budget approval sometime in fall 2025, prepare tender documents, PIC2 and tender project around spring of 2026, then construction phase 2026 summer. Thank you for your time and feedback. Question on the please.
Thank you, Ugo. Could you please go back to the slide of the photo of park number 2?
Okay, park number 2.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so I'm going to start off the comments and questions this go around. This park is an interesting park. It is it's promoting an active lifestyle with the skate park and the pump track area. It does appear from this picture to have lots of trees covering that southwest corner, which is always important for providing shade. To me, this is a nice designed park. If you want to go to this picture of the park number 3.
Okay.
This one, where to begin? So it looks like almost, I don't know, I don't want to exaggerate, but say 30% of or more of this area is parking. So I'm assuming you're trying to provide access off of both streets to relieve congestion or something. But it looks like an awful lot of parking, and especially on that southern side along DeRose Avenue, which would be an ideal place to put more trees. So those are kind of my comments. And again, the question is around the asphalt, if we can get that changed to permeable parking.
Okay.
So those go ahead.
No, sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it for me. I was going to see if you had a response, then see if anyone else had any comments.
Yes, so yeah, we'll be considering permeable paving for some of those parking lots. We'll look at them holistically at the time of detailed design to see how they're gonna work and perform over time. Then we'll come up with a final design, but we'll keep the committee informed as we move along on these options.
So I heard you say earlier, and I didn't quite catch the slides, but it looks like you have guidelines that you're following in terms of the number of parking spaces you're putting based on some criteria. Could you share that with me offline?
Yes, please. I will do that.
Thank you. Helen, go ahead.
Sure. Thanks. Am I muted? No, there we go.
You're good.
Yeah, I agree with the parking thing here. Yeah, maybe you have guidelines, but maybe there might be options to ask for an exception, because this looks like in the summertime it will just be a sweltering hellhole, like with all this pavement on the south side. And then I just wanted to point out, like, permeable pavement sounds so fancy and expensive, but like a gravel parking lot is permeable, right? So, like, don't think it's, but for this case, I was going to throw out the idea. I've seen the parking where they use some sort of engineered structure and then grass grows within. So from a distance, it looks like lawn, but when you actually drive on it, it's got the either cement or plastic structure that holds it up. So I think for permeable paving, we might, in this case, look for something that's actually made of grass that would be cooling. So that was just my thought on this one. But two comments regarding trees. So even if people want fruit trees are not on the city's approved list of tree planting. So please be reminded that we have a list of hundreds of trees, different species that can be planted in the city, and fruit trees are not on that list. And I don't think they should be considered because they will attract rodents, which will attract coyotes, and you'll have coyotes attracted to your parks. So I think there's a lot of common sense to be pulled into the reason we don't have too many fruit trees in public parks. And you can't fence out a coyote. Like, that's not gonna, I mean, it's a nice idea to not want coyotes in the park, but they're attracted by garbage and bird food and other things to eat. So if the parks are clean and not full of garbage, you won't have coyotes in them. So I think that if people are concerned about coyotes, you could write up a little paragraph about how the parks will be kept free of food, that coyotes like to eat. So those were my comments on those things. So thanks.
Thanks, Helen. That's excellent. And the point about multiple types of permeable, I use the word permeable pavement, and that's not correct. It's permeable surfaces that I should be using.
Okay.
Because there are the brick type, there are the mat type, there are several types of permeable surfaces. I have to change my dialogue. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're assuming these things are more expensive or somehow out of our reach, but I think if we put it in new parks and put a sign explaining the benefits of them, then I think everybody will be willing to, like, try it and explore it. And maybe people will start doing their driveways like that too. So,
And I'm gonna talk a bit more about that if we have time later in the call when we talk about the cost of inaction when it comes to climate change.
Right.
And
so
things
for the
like
sewers,
that.
for the sewers to be overfilled and everyone's basements flooded costs a little bit more than some permeable
Exactly.
surfaces. Yeah.
Bingo. Okay. Linda, go ahead.
Okay, what I'm thinking is if you're thinking of including a pool in any of these parks, I would suggest that you include a year-round pool with a roof over it. Because we have a beautiful pool on Richmond, but it's used for 12 weeks at most in a year, and then the rest of the year it sits there. And I know people in the community worked really hard to raise money for that pool, but it should have a roof over it so people can use it year round. It's sitting there way too long with not any use in that area, and it's covered with cement and all the rest of it, so it might as well have a roof over it and be used by the community. It's some people say you can go to Brock, but Brock you have to pay for parking, and the parking is very expensive. So
Ugo, is there plans for a pool in this location, or is it just a splash pad?
For the time being, it's gonna be a splash pad because if you go back to the Parks and Recreation master plan, so it calls for that splash pad, but there was no provision for a pool. But this is about we still look at the options of see whether we can do that, add it into the design. But yeah.
I'm not sure if it's this one or the other one, but there was a community suggestion about a pool. That's why I spoke on it. Okay.
Thank you. Mark, go ahead. Unmute, please.
Thank you again. Through the chair, I just wanted to make a really quick comment with respect to the parking. And I appreciate that Ugo is going to share some of the documentation that leads to the reasoning behind the sizing. But just really quickly, we designed some really beautiful parks in the city of Thorold, and some of the struggles that we've had are parks that are drawing a lot of attention, and we don't have adequate parking. And then that frustrates the neighborhood because you have people that are parking in front of their homes. And I know best case scenario from this committee's perspective is that people would use, would walk to a park or would cycle to a park. But when you design a park that has features such as a splash pad, basketball court, tennis courts, not all parks have those amenities, so we do have people that travel from other neighborhoods to enjoy these amenities, and so that's one of the reasons why we do have to provide adequate parking to avoid some of the issues that we're dealing with in other neighborhood parks. And when we look at basketball, you could have a 5-on-5 game that draws upwards of 5 to 10 parking lots or parking spots just for that one use. We could have 4 people playing tennis and multiple people using the splash pad. So I appreciate it takes away from some of the trees, but we do have to find that balance of providing parking for the use of the amenities that are being incorporated into the park design. Just wanted to share that perspective.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective, in fact, because it is something that I've often thought of. If it's a playground, then I would assume and expect that some people should be able to walk to the playground. But I do understand your point of not every area has a basketball court or something like that that would bring in people from other areas, and we need to be understanding of that. Thanks for bringing that up. Joe, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. The one thing that came up during the presentation was about the fence to keep the coyotes out. Now, I've mentioned this at parks also, but I would suggest that if that's under consideration, check with the Ministry of Natural Resources. If you put a fence up between the park itself and that stand of woods, you're more likely to trap animals on the park than you are to keep them out. And, I'm not talking just coyotes, but even things like skunks and raccoons, and these days possums, I suppose. If they wander on and there's a fence there and there's people there, the people are going to excite the animal to the point where then it becomes a hazard. So I would just soon allow them to escape. And generally speaking, if there are people there playing basketball or whatever, the animals aren't going to wander out of the woods anyway. And Helen's point about the garbage, very, very true. That's got to be looked at as well. But as I say, that fence would be, in my opinion, not a good idea for the exact opposite reason that some people want one. That's all I have to say on that.
That's great perspective, Joe. Thanks for that. So Ugo, thanks again for the discussion today, and I believe you have a few things that you could take back.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. All right, let's keep moving here. We'll go on to section 7.4, which is Parkland Dedication Bylaw. Jay, I believe you're going to tell us more about this.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So we just heard a bunch of presentations on proposed parks and improving our parks. So I guess we have to talk about how we're going to finance all of that. So under Section 42 of the Planning Act, municipalities are able to collect parkland dedication, either land or cash in lieu of parkland in developments. So the city currently has a parkland dedication policy which dates back to 1991. So it is definitely time to update that policy. And that policy currently only allows the city to collect parkland, either the land or cash with new subdivisions or the severance of lots. So currently, the city is pretty hamstrung artificially by what it's able to collect for parkland dedication. So this new bylaw that'll be presented to council on Tuesday is designed to remedy that. So moving forward, city planning staff will be able to collect up to 5% of land or cash in lieu on all development applications moving forward, not just subdivisions or consents. We'll be able to, yeah, like I said, collect larger amounts. We'll be able to collect for all kinds of developments. So previously it was just residential. Now we'll be able to collect for some commercial development as well. So yeah, in essence, this parkland dedication bylaw, which we're hoping to bring to council on Tuesday, should be a big step forward in to helping outfit some of the existing parks and improving our current supply. So if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Jay. Stuart, go ahead.
Sure. I had a question, which was about the cash in lieu. So either 5% of land or the cash in lieu. I think one of the things, not only in Thorold but across Niagara, there's limited amounts of public space in terms of park, and so I get the sense that not everywhere it makes sense to, based on what the developer has, to put parks in those areas. But I guess I was just curious about how that cash collected translates to more public lands. I mean, it could be if it's going to eventually equate to, maybe it's not here, but we're building a park over here, or how that might, if that's part of the bylaw, or if that is something that is being considered.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair, the preference of city planning staff will always be to take land over cash, just because land is what maintains its value the best. It's obviously the more valuable thing to the city. So there is an alternative rate for collecting cash, and that'll be outlined in the bylaw itself, based on density as well. So higher density developments will result in more cash. To answer your question about, I guess, the use of that cash, the cash can be used for anything. So that can be used to purchase land for new parks. It can also be used to improve the programming that exists within the current city parks. So even if, I guess, cash is collected in a development and it's not used for a park right away, it can be used throughout the city for a variety of different kind of objectives.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. So just to repeat, this is an improvement over what we have today, the recommended bylaw in terms of obtaining more parkland, and it's going to City Council this upcoming Tuesday. Okay, thank you. Oh, Helen, did you have a question?
Yeah, so are we being asked to say whether we support this new bylaw or not, or we recommend council approve it, or?
Sorry, so through you, Mr. Chair, I believe that this will be passing through consent on the agenda, so I don't think that there'll be a need to support it at council. I just wanted to make all of the committee members aware, because this will hopefully improve our ability to service parks moving forward.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks. If there's nothing else, okay, Linda had to go. I'm going to move to the working group updates. I'll try to keep them quick. First one is on Earth Day. There's really no update I have other than Ratna and Zach are both interested in working with Jacob on Earth Day 2026 activities. I believe Jacob has been out of the office, but is due back soon, so then discussions can resume. Unless anyone else has any comments or questions, I'll move on. Okay. Committee long-term goals. Yes, we haven't spent a lot of time on that until recently again. And we're really trying to, we met last week to talk about how we can support the City of Thorold's efforts to address climate change. So the meeting minutes are part of this agenda. We're attached to this agenda. But to summarize quickly, we're really looking at 4 main activities. So the first one is to promote the development of a City of Thorold climate plan, and one that's specifically geared to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we're hopeful that this can be done by leveraging the region's corporate climate change action plan that they recently released, as well as the overall Niagara climate change municipal community of practice, which I understand the city is a member of. So that's number one. Number two is to support climate adaptation activities to protect people and key infrastructure, both man-made, or sorry, human-made and natural, in anticipation of worsening extreme weather events such as heat waves, as well as potentially fires, storms, and floods. Number three, we're looking to become more involved with the city's official plan update process to ensure that the city is incorporating and being consistent with the region's official plan in the areas of climate mitigation and adaptation. We're also looking to be somehow participate in the city's energy conservation and demand management plan. And then the fourth item is promoting the concept of viewing all city business through a climate lens, which we can do through a number of things, including the official plan. But just to give something more specific, for example, city staff have a section on forms that they need to fill out when they're presenting a report to council. It's a section called the Environmental and Climate Change Impact section. So we'd like to take a look at that and help, if we can, provide some guidance on what city staff should be considering there. For example, I, for one, would like to see more awareness of the cost of climate inaction. To Helen's point earlier about permeable pavement, things aren't always what they seem up front. If you look at pavement, if you look at the cost of asphalt versus permeable pavement, but you have to, or sorry, I'm suggesting that we look at the bigger picture, longer term picture, which is the cost of not putting in permeable surfaces that could result in flooding, okay, as an example. So we'll be working with Jay over the coming weeks on these items. Joe, did you have anything you wanted to add more related to the climate adaptation activities?
Not about that, but there was some, maybe we just haven't got down to it yet. There was some concern about disaster plans and emergency plans that the city may have.
Yeah, that's all part of the climate adaptation plans, because there's existing emergency preparedness plans, but something more specific to a heat wave that comes into the town, and do we know where our vulnerable people are that don't have air conditioning? How do we communicate with them? Those types of things is what I was thinking of. So that falls under potentially falls under disaster preparedness.
Yep. Yeah. No, I hear you on that. There's most of the old. Okay, one building that I'm aware of and intimately aware of is the 61 Ormond. I'm just using that as an example. That's an apartment building that was put up most of 30 years ago, give or take. Almost every unit has got air conditioning, which they supply, like the individual tenants supply. But there's no air conditioning per se within the hallways. It's just, for all intents and purposes, impossible to retrofit. It was just never designed to have anything other than air exchange. I think you're going to find that with virtually every commercial, like non-profit building of that type and that vintage. Now, trying to take an inventory of things like that and ignoring the fact that if, for the sake of argument, there was a massive power outage, even the places that we might designate as cooling places aren't going to have power to run their cooling. So ignoring something like that, the only way you could really do it is on a volunteer basis. Make it have the public be aware that we're collecting information so that we can check on people. There are a few obvious places that you would look, like 61 Ormond, like Chestnut Court, or whatever we're calling it, or whatever it's called these days, so that people could be aware that they can go to the library, or they can, go pretty much public spaces or public areas. There aren't really all that terribly many of them that you can go to. Like, there is the library. There's the TCAG. I guess there's City Hall. After that, where are you going to go? The mall. Go into Foodland. I mean, there's this is something that's got to be looked at sort of from both directions, because even if we knew where every single person who might be affected during a heat wave was, I don't think we've got the infrastructure to
accommodate. Yeah.
You follow what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, understood. And these are we'll take these back into the working group, Joe, and have further discussions on these. There's just some definite details that we haven't talked about yet, right? So
absolutely. And as far as just real briefly, I did have some unofficial information come back from the fire department. As far as emergency plans and whatnot go, there are emergency plans for virtually every contingency, running from grass fires up to terrorism and nuclear attacks. There are also contingencies, or there are also plans if there was a catastrophic failure of the canal or an explosion in the canal.
Wow.
The deputy chief would be more than happy if anyone has any specific questions through staff or through a counselor. The deputy chief would be more than happy to address those concerns, or even appear at this committee for specific things. Quite frankly, the emergency list would be about the size of a good-sized city's phone book. Like, they go through everything. So anyway.
Okay, that's
all
good
I have to say about that. Okay, thank you.
Yep, that's good to hear. Thank you, Joe. Justin, we have 5 minutes left.
No, just there was a talk about maybe changing the membership of this working group before, Matt.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to address that. Yes, can you please refresh my memory as to the steps we need to take and who I'm inviting?
So right now I have on here Leslie Daniels, yourself, Mark Freeman, Linda Borland, and Helen are the current members. But I know there was some talk of maybe changing up.
Yes, we could remove Leslie and request to add, shoot. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my notes here. Yes, we would like to include Joe Helen, and Ratna to that list? Go ahead, Justin.
Sorry. So I have Mark, Helen, Linda, Borland, Joe, and Ratna.
Correct.
All right. So that's 5. That's the limit we can have. So
Okay.
is that if everyone's good with that, we'll get a mover and a seconder, and then vote on that.
Okay. Can I please have a mover on that? Thank you, Joe. Can I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Ratna, go ahead. Thank you. Okay, so all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that should be carried. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Justin, for bringing that up. Are we okay to run over a few minutes late, Justin? I'm going to wrap up Greening Thorold as quickly as I can.
We don't really have an end time on this, but
Okay.
I recommend not going too much longer.
No, 5 or 10 minutes. This was
Sure.
a lot of information today. Okay.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. So we'll move to the Greening Thorold Working Group. And okay, so the first thing, we're looking for the city to provide an update in terms of activities with the recommended tree planting list that we have provided. I'm going to come back to that. We're looking to hear about how the city is communicating this new tree list to the public as well as to its suppliers. But I'll go on and I'll come back to that. In terms of other progress, we believe the city has a good handle on tree maintenance procedures. However, we're still looking for that proof in the field, so to speak. So, for example, are contractors still damaging trees or not? But talking to city staff, they understand and have a plan to address those concerns. Just need to know if it's been implemented. Other than that, we are currently working on the development of a recommended boulevard plant list. We do have a first draft of that list completed, and we're getting that vetted right now with the help of the Thorold Garden Club. So we're hoping to get that list completed this month, and then take a look at the related bylaws, existing city bylaws, specifically the noxious weeds, clean yards, and property standards bylaws. And when we're looking at those bylaws, we'll be considering the desire for allowing boulevard gardens as well as pollinator gardens. And we'll be looking to work with city staff on potential changes to allow those types of gardens. So with that, I'll ask if Jay, can I ask you do you have an update on these activities, or should I ask Mark, or where are we right now?
Maybe Mark, do you mind taking this one?
Happy to jump in. Yep. So I'll try to go from the top down. So with respect to the tree planting list, we have broadcast that on the city's website, and I believe it's gone out. If not, it will be on Let's Talk Thorold. And we've also organized to post that on the Facebook page. We are incorporating the use of that internally, and I'll take this opportunity just to provide a couple of quick updates with respect to the October 6th planting. All 150 trees that are going to be planted on that day are selected from the list that we provided, or that the Greening Thorold working group came up with. At the same time, this Tuesday, another report will be going to council. We will be submitting an application through the Green Municipal Fund for the planting of 1,000 trees at Lakeview Cemetery. This will be the first of a multi-year tree planting, essentially the redevelopment of a Carolinian forest at Lakeview Cemetery. And again, all trees selected for that planting will be from the list developed by Greening Thorold. So the seasonal staff or the students have now gone back to school, but we had met with them to speak with them about trimming, albeit like most messages, we probably need to say it 7 times before it sinks in, because we are still recognizing that there's damage. We've identified a relatively new tree at DeQ House Heritage Park that has had damage around the base, and we've used that as an example to the staff to point out what happens when you're trimming too close to it. So again, looking to the fall and the spring, we'll also be adding, where possible, we'll be adding Big O pipe or the drainage tile pipe around some of the base of the trees, and we'll also be adding mulch balls around the base of some trees where possible, kind of on a case by case basis. So, and we have spoken to Galds, who's our current planter. We've provided them with the list as well. And I'll be meeting with them again today to talk about the large scale planting that we're proposing through the grant application. I think that updates everything and ticks off some of those boxes as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mark. When you say it's been updated on the city website, has that replaced the what was it? It was the city tree program, I think, was the existing web page. Has it replaced that, or?
I don't think it hasn't replaced that as of yet. I think when we met with Scott, one of his concerns was we want to promote the list and educate people about what trees should be planted. But with respect to the tree planting program, we were going to try to define that list or reduce that list with respect to what's available each year or more readily available through the contractor who happens to be Galds this year. So that will be updated on a seasonal basis.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's great. That's great to hear that. Well, we'll see what happens next Tuesday. And that'll be great to see 1,000 trees planted at Lakeview Cemetery. That's for sure. And the communication of our tree list. Okay. Is there any questions on any of this from anybody here? All right, seeing none, we'll just move to the roundtable discussion in case there's something else that someone wants to raise. We've talked about a lot of things today, but if there's anything else, Mark, I'll start with you. You're on my screen at the top left.
I guess the only other quick update, and this speaks to it sort of speaks to one of Joe's points. Another report that's going to council this week is another grant application. This is more on the side of heritage restoration, but again, to the chair's comment with respect to the environmental portion of the report, what we're proposing through a grant application is to restore the windows and all of the woodwork at Chestnut Hall. Again, this would be the first of a multi-year grant application where we would then see some restoration to the masonry. But with respect to the environment, obviously, by restoring those windows, it would seal the envelope of that building, not just from further decay, but you can imagine the cost of heating and cooling that structure when those windows are essentially open or leaking significantly. So that's the only other update I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart, you're next on my screen.
No updates at this time.
Thank you. Joe? Nothing? Okay. Helen? Anything else to add?
I was just thinking about these bylaws. There was one question I had was whether the city staff could recommend whether they think to add boulevard plantings, as we will be defining height and species and whatnot, and to encourage pollinator gardens. Should that be like updating the existing bylaws, or should it be like a new bylaw? Because we were thinking just update the existing bylaws. But from our perspective, I don't know whether any of our committee wants to read through all of the bylaws and, has the legalese to rewrite the bylaws. So I'm wondering where we get the support. Like, we say what we want to see in the bylaw, who can tell us which section of the bylaw needs to be rewritten?
That's good. I appreciate that. And Jay was next on my list, and he put his hand up.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair, to address your question, Helen, hopefully moving forward, we're going to be the planning department and this committee have a better dialogue and more open communication moving forward. So I'm hoping that if there are any questions with regards to the existing bylaws or policies and what needs to get written, the planning department can be a resource for this committee. Like it's as an example with the parkland dedication bylaw, there is quite a bit of legalese as you mentioned that needs to be determined to work through that. But you know, we have passionate people on staff that are willing to work with this committee and write those policies. So I don't want that to be a barrier for this group. Fear of maybe inability to write bylaws. That shouldn't be an issue.
I think,
Yeah,
I think
so
right
Jay,
now we're at the inability to read bylaws.
so Jay, I guess the fundamental question, if I can paraphrase what Helen is asking, is we can provide some information in terms of what we're looking for boulevard gardens and pollinator gardens. And the question is, do we need to revise the existing bylaws and that's sufficient, or will we need new bylaws?
I don't have enough familiarity with the current provincial legislation, regional legislation, and what we currently have. That being said, we've had to rewrite a lot of our bylaws from scratch, in essence. And the other thing to consider is a lot of our existing legislation is policies. It's not actually a bylaw. So our parkland dedication, that was a parkland dedication policy. And I don't want to further kind of derail this discussion on that, but there is kind of a difference between the enforceability of bylaws versus policies. So to summarize, we will have to probably revisit a lot of them from scratch.
Yeah, okay. So the point is that or the request is that's kind of our starting point, and then we'll go from there. That's fine. We'll take it offline at this point. Justin, go ahead.
I was just going to say the short answer is not sure yet, because I would imagine that there will be need to be some updates for the clean yards and so forth that will need to be made, but I'm not sure if there's other updates that staff want to make to those bylaws that are unrelated. So it might just come all as a one or not. I'm not sure yet at this
Okay.
point.
And to Jay's point, policies that I haven't thought about policies, so we'll have to think about that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. With that, Councillor Longo.
Nothing, Chair.
Thank you very much. Ratna, anything to add or any further questions?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing from my side.
Okay, thank you. Ugo? I'm going to assume not. Alex?
Not for me. Just would like to thank the committee for inviting me.
Thank you. You're welcome. Zach, anything to add or ask?
Nothing on my end, Chair.
Thank you. And Councillor O'Hare?
Nothing to add, Chair. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So then with that, our next meeting will be held on November 7th. The ECVAC meeting, although we will have some other working group sessions between now and then. With there being no further business today, this meeting is adjourned at 11:39. I appreciate your time and thank you all and have a good weekend.
Thank you.